UFC fans have been very excited since the Eagle, Khabib Nurmagomedov posted a video on his social media training on a treadmill with the caption, "July I have to be ready." Although the Eagle specifies that it is not related to MMA, the return of such a great athlete to any type of physical sport represents great news and raises the expectations of all his followers. What do you think Khabib is preparing for? Let us know in the comments. Adesanya wants Pereira's head as a trophy. There was a lot of tension at the press conference before UFC 287 with all the fighters ready to leave everything in the cage if necessary. Former middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya, said he doesn't care about the title, he wants to rip Pereira's head off.
On Saturday, what is most important to you? Is it about regaining the UFC title and being world champion again, or is it simply beat
the belt? I'm coming for his head.
Meanwhile, the Brazilian assassin assured that this will be a physical and psychological fight for Adesanya because he hasn't forgotten the 3 losses on his record. However, the last stylebender believes that this is his definitive moment to shine and determine once and for all who the best man is. "This is my 8-mile moment, this is it, one more shot at this." Let's hear it from Adesanya himself.
I've said this is my 8-mile moment, this is it, one more shot at this. I put everything on my back, I've done everything in my power to make sure I do the worst thing to this man this weekend. I'm done with this talk. You guys want to hear me talk or you want to hear me fight?
Although Pereira thinks it's just empty talk with no real force, Adesanya insists that this time things will be different.
Who did this the past 3 fights? He said the same things and the result was that.
It don't even understand what I said, not understand what you said. What's going to happen this weekend is we're going to fight and see who the best man is at the end.
Even though both fighters will try to kill each other inside the ring, they took a moment to highlight each other's qualities and respect for their opponent. Pereira acknowledges that despite his past victories, Adesanya is a formidable champion capable of changing the past results. While Izzy admires the fighting spirit always shown by the Brazilian, he promises to show his own fighting spirit on Saturday. "You all know I have that shit."
Say his recovery and his fighting spirit. That's something that I definitely felt like he surprised me with. But Saturday night, time for talking is done. I'm going to show him my fighting spirit.
Pereira has zero interest in Khamzat Chimaev. Although all the attention from both Brazil and the entire world is focused solely on his upcoming fight against Israel Adesanya. There are other wolves lurking around the champion, waiting for their opportunity to secure a title fight. Former champion Robert Whittaker and Paulo Costa are some of the most prominent names that could potentially have a fight with the Brazilian assassin in the future. Pereira appreciates that Whittaker and Costa have always been respectful towards him, but he seems to have no love for Chimaev. Chimaev is the kind of guy that seems to be a little lost, talks too much.
Falando no Whittaker, é uns caras que eu respeito, né? Eu não vejo eles falando assim mal de mim, querendo se promover. Chimaev, pô, um cara que correu de todo mundo aí, depois falou que eu corri dele, eu chamei ele para lutar na categoria de cima.
Alex even pointed out the fact that Khamzat wanted to fight him after his last fight, but when he challenged him to fight at 205 pounds, Chimaev chickened out. The interview ended with Pereira insisting that he doesn't even want to talk about Chimaev.
Muito pouco tempo, entendeu? Nessa minha categoria é uma coisa que era impossível porque eu estava machucado e muito difícil descer de peso também. Não é tão rápido assim. Eu sou profissional, eu tenho que fazer um trabalho bem feito. Pô, não tô perdido que nem ele, do jeito que ele tá. Então, Chimaev, não vou nem falar de Chimaev. Ok, borrachinha, o Whittaker, se o UFC achar que eu tenho que lutar com eles, eu não posso escolher, eu tenho que lutar.
There appears to be a lack of interest in discussing Khamzat among those in his current weight class. Khamzat's poor performance in terms of weight at UFC 279 in September 2022 essentially marked the end of his days as a welterweight fighter. Now that he's switched to competing as a middleweight, many of the top fighters in the 185-pound division believe he needs to prove himself again as a contender before they're willing to face him. Colby Covington can't fight due to brain injuries, says Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal explains that he has 3 felonies for alleged assaults on Covington after they had an altercation in Miami following their last fight. So it is impossible for Covington to fight Edwards for the title.
To rephrase Morgan, I currently got 3 felonies because this Colby says I gave him a brain injury. So how the is he gonna fight for any title is what I want to know. You know, like how could you? The UFC's gonna get sued if that guy goes in there and something like that happens, right? Because supposedly, allegedly, guys, I didn't do shit. He says I gave him a brain injury. I didn't do shit.
Colby told the police that Masvidal had caused him brain injuries and a broken tooth as a result of the attacks on him. Masvidal emphasizes that if Colby enters the cage with those brain injuries, the UFC will be sued. Jorge also reveals that Colby has a restraining order against him. All I know is that he has a restraining order on me. I have to stay 100 feet from this individual.
Is that he has a restraining order on me. I have to stay 100 feet from this individual. Still, I don't even know why, you know, why he would put such a thing on me, because I'm like the coolest guy, you know, so I'm like, my mind is still blown of why he has a restraining order on me.
The crossovers between UFC and WWE is not going to happen. Dana White has clarified the doubts generated regarding the new fusion between UFC and WWE.
The difference between the UFC and the WWE is, if you look at the WWE, they have an entertainment value, and they have these guys that are incredible athletes that go in there and do their thing. It's well known that it's scripted. When you look at the UFC, this is as real as it gets. That's like our tagline. You have these guys that are incredible athletes that have to be well-rounded and well-versed in all these different aspects of martial arts. Then you have the entertainment side of it too, but it's real fighting. It's real. There are no predetermined outcomes in the UFC, so there won't really be any type of crossover.
UFC fans had the fear that as a result of this fusion, scripted crossover events would be organized that would take away the feeling of realism that UFC fights have. But now they can rest easy because those events have no plans to take place in the near future. These companies have already had athletes in both arenas, with Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Ronda Rousey, and Matt Riddle being stars who have shown on both sides. Raul Rosas on haters, they should take some notes if they want to be on the pay-per-view main card. El Nino Problema, Raul Rosas Jr., left a very clear message to all the haters and jealous fighters about the opportunity he was given to be on the main card.
To those critics that say like, hey, Raul Rosas doesn't deserve a main card slot.
I don't know who said that, but at the end of the day, they're all just hating, and they should take some notes. If they want to be on the pay-per-view card, they should take some notes and learn some stuff from me, you know. I've already got in the UFC, and I'm already in the pay-per-view, not like other ranked fighters that are prelim fighters, you know, so I don't want to say names, you know, but yeah.
Meanwhile, his opponent for Saturday, Christian Rodriguez, sees this fight as an opportunity to stop Rosas Jr.'s hype and use it to his advantage.
You made the John Morgan asked you earlier about, you know, the hype train behind Raul Rosas Jr. and everything. I'm curious your take. Like, do you embrace, you know, where at least perceptually wise you're going to be the underdog here?
I feel like I'll probably be the underdog in this fight. I do know he has a lot of hype, but I don't mind the hype. I think it benefits me, you know, once I stop it.
That's all for today's video. If you want to know the latest UFC news, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, and click the like button, so you don't miss any details about the upcoming fights. Thanks for watching. See you soon.